Emerging into 2020, what were you up to? What was your life like? What was the world like for you in that moment?
Going back to the beginning of 2020,
January we start competing, so before that's preseason, so we were just kind of getting into meets.
We were mid-season. We just came back from our training trip from Hawaii.
me and the team are especially like super hyped at this point because we had just started our season.
Even in January, we started hearing about the coronavirus, and I thought it was just like a social media thing. Like, I just don't believe everything I read.
Going into playoffs, we had just beaten Notre Dame. You know, it was a big deal, it was a big series. Our coach came in and he said, okay, well, we're gonna be playing Penn State on Friday, but with no fans. Okay, we're gonna be playing Penn State in 2 weeks. We're gonna have to postpone it a week. Okay, we're not playing Penn State at all, our season's done.
Everything just kept getting postponed and putting back, and it was a whole mess.
We had seen on Twitter and our coaches telling us that the Big Ten tournament has been canceled, and then we seen that the boys tournament was canceled, and once that was canceled, we were like, this must be really serious because, you know, that generates a lot of revenue. So it kind of did come in, you know, swift and fast.
2 or 3 weeks later, it was all shut down.
It was a shock, honestly. I still don't really know how to explain it.
I remember feeling so distraught and disappointed and like not even knowing what to think.
I just remember looking around and seeing the faces of our seniors. We had 3 seniors that year, and you know, they were crying.
It was just kind of like everybody sitting in a circle, like hugging each other and crying and just like not understanding what was happening.
I remember crying, when hearing the news, and I'm not a big crier either, and so it was a tough situation.
I couldn't really go home, so I was stuck here for about a month.
I am from Japan. The day I was leaving the US, Canada just like announced that they're closing their border, and the day after I got Japan, they announced that they closing border. So I was like this close to like stuck in the US.
The government organized a flight for college students because apparently there's a lot of Serbian athletes here in America playing sports in college. So we were rescued.
We went away for spring break, and then 2 weeks turned into 3, and then 3 turned into forever.
Taking that long break was really hard for all of us, I think.
It was even hard to work out, like a lot of places were closed.
Gyms were closed. I think the on-campus place that we train was closed, and we weren't allowed to train in there.
We would go to the U and try to go into the facility, get on the field, like no one was there, but they'd be like, you guys can't work out here, even on the outdoor field. So it was tough trying to find even a place to work out outside.
A lot of the guys did go home because their home club gyms were allowing like the teams that went there, like the high level ones, to train.
I went home, got to spend that time with my family. Turned out being, some precious family time that I wouldn't get otherwise.
That's probably the longest I've been home for probably 4 to 5 years now, so it was awesome to get home. There was a silver lining to that. I got to be with my brother, my mother, my father. It gave me the opportunity to get more creative with my training, I think.
I stayed home until we got the green light that we were able to come back. I think that was in August.
We all flew back around the beginning of September.
We have a fall period and the spring period. So the spring period is our actual season, and the fall is like the practices and everything. And we only have a certain amount of days in the fall, so we had already pushed back the fall period of when we were going to be practicing, just due to possibly getting an outbreak. And early fall, we did have about 20 to 23 guys get it.
Somebody on our team tested positive, then the next day somebody did, then the next day. Then it just kept coming. I think it got a big majority of our team.
A lot of my teammates live with other guys, so you gotta, close contact those guys, so it'll be whole position groups wiped out.
I got the virus somewhere in October, and it was pretty harsh for 2 days. I believe only 2 guys from our team did not have it.
If you did test positive, you'd be out for 14 days, so that would mean you'd be put up in a hotel, you'd be locked in the hotel room for 14 days. You're praying Sunday night that you do not have COVID, just so you can stay in the lineup and you're not gonna lose your starting spot to like an upcoming freshman.
Almost a month spending in the hotel, not being able to leave the room. I was just thinking like, wow, it's the last year and I'm a whole month in a hotel laying on the bed.
The NCAA is paying, ready for this stat, they paid $39,000 per athlete to be tested and so on and so forth, to be protected in certain hotels when there was an outbreak. You know, that number it's like a lot of money. From our perspective, we felt like the NCAA was doing as much as they could do.
Go in the locker room at first, it was like max 5 guys in there. You had to change and get out. Same with the weight room, it was max 5 guys. You had to work out for 45 minutes, then you were out so they could sanitize.
When we were working out and when we were on the ice, we didn't have to wear masks, but when we were traveling, say, on the bus, on an airplane, always have to wear a mask.
We would do daily testing, and then on Fridays, you know, we would test before we flew out, and then we would test at the hotel also.
The dining room, when we ate, before games, after games, you know, we had to make sure we were separated.
Typically, we also go out to like breakfast or dinner together after a meet, and we all have a big meal together, and it's like family style, and it's really fun because everybody's at the same table or really close. But this year we got everything to go, and it was, you just ate in your hotel room, like by yourself with your roommate. You pretty much roomed with one person the entire season.
We kind of get tired or like sick of each other. I love my teammate, but you know, we practice, we live together. Maybe like, I don't have to see your face today type of moment.
You know, you had no social life. You wasn't in class. You know, you couldn't go to a restaurant. You couldn't go to a bar and get a drink.
We were all in the understanding that from the rink, we'd go straight home. And we ordered in almost all our food.
It was literally the football complex and home. Like, we couldn't do anything else.
College, you got a lot going on, so being able to go to the field and practice and be around your best friends for 4 or 5 hours a day, it's kind of a getaway. And being told that you can't do that anymore, I think mentally it was the worst.
I just remember being like so mad all the time, where I'd take it out in practice.
Mental health was something I really had to focus on this year, just because the lows and the highs of not having your sport, it's just difficult to go through that.
Volleyball is like one of the part of my life. It's like more like breathing, eating, sleeping. If I don't play volleyball, I feel like, what should I do today? Like, I don't know how to kill my time.
When you feel like something's holding you back, that's probably the worst feeling as an athlete. And when that thing that's holding you back, you don't really control, that's even more frustrating.
I faced a lot of anxiety and depression. COVID kind of brought it to like a point to where, it's time to deal with it. Especially as a, 20-year-old, college kid, football, you're supposed to be big and strong, but sometimes you gotta, vent and, let people know how you feeling and, deal with things like that.
All of us on our team definitely had a point this season where we're like, is it even worth it? Like, do we even know if we're gonna keep going in this season?
Going from, selling out Penn State game, Wisconsin game that year to nobody in the stands was like the most, it was like running out the tunnel with no one in the stands but your parents. It felt like it wasn't even a high school game. It was really like something like at a park or something. Like, it was the most quiet, weird thing ever.
I'm used to playing and hearing yelling, clapping, and screaming, and it was just quiet. In a huge arena, it does make a big difference.
We had to go through that season in our matches knowing that after this year, there's no more tennis.
We got a last minute notification of a Zoom call from our athletic department.
I thought it was gonna be an educating meeting for all the student athletes about COVID-related issues, safety issues. We joined, and it was about 100 student athletes on there with the athletic director, Mark Hoyle.
And then they just announced, we're gonna cut this program. It was like, gone.
I don't even think I finished. I think I heard we're cutting the teams, and then I shut my laptop and I went for a walk and called my dad after that.
At that moment, I lived with 3 of my teammates, and I remember just ending the meeting, and I came out to the living room and I saw one of my teammates just crying, and it was really sad. It was really sad.
Everybody was just angry, in disbelief.
The reasons they were providing did not really correlate with any solution possible. Basically, they were saying anything you do cannot help you. It's done. We made the decision, and that's it.
It was really sad to see like all the other teams get cut, especially for like the little money that it kind of saved.
I know that they had $60 or $70 million predicted deficit for the year because of the football games, and it only cost like 1.62 million or something for our sport, or the sports that were cut. So as a monetary stance, I don't think it really made sense. We're not as popular and we don't bring enough revenue in back to them, so they just decided it's not worth their time or effort or resources to do it.
Football brings more than 50% of athletics budget. And then hockey, obviously, they've been national champions so many times. And hockey is huge in Minnesota. It's pretty clear someone like them, it's not gonna get cut.
Maybe like we can cut like some gears and stuff. We can try, at least we could try to make that work. I think we wanted to see, at least we wanted to see the effort, because it was just too quick.
I thought that they can't get away with that just that easily. I thought the pushback's gotta be huge.
All of a sudden we had a petition going, reinstate the team. We had just all of these alumni reaching out. It kind of grew and grew, and soon we had like 25,000 signatures on the petition, and we were marching across campus, and everybody was sending letters to the regents. The regents couldn't read all the letters that they were getting.
You know, you see these athletes that are like outside the president's house protesting and saying, you can't do this to us. Stuff like that happens, it really puts that in perspective for you.
The gymnastics community is pretty tight-knit, so there was a lot of outrage about it and a lot of actually news coverage about it.
We ultimately had our outdoor track and field team reinstated. The regents decided that we could have outdoor, but we're still fighting for the indoor team.
Now we have a huge thing that is connecting us all, and we all played for the so far last generations of the Gophers men's tennis team.
The camaraderie was the biggest thing that kind of kept me going.
A lot of bad shit gonna happen. You just gotta keep pushing.
Us just making sure that we checked up on each other through FaceTime or Zoom, and just did mental health checks, and just to see where we're all at. I think that's definitely something that helped our camaraderie.
Without hockey, I don't think I could have gotten through this year. Without my teammates, without my coaches, I would have gone stir crazy.
I would wish you recorded our practices to see how positive, how much we supported each other, how much we bonded through these rough times. That is something that I'm really proud of.